We understand that, William and Catherine were aware of this, and this alleged treatment, from Meghan to her staff, did cause the split.
William is going to prove he's not going to be that guy. Investigating your brother, investigating your brother's wife. I think it's such a really impactful moment. He can show the world here that he will not tolerate nonsense, bullying, bad behavior. There are allegations of really awful behavior. And as we know from Andrew, ignoring awful behavior does not make it disappear. This report, it's going to come out.
There's a growing school of thought that Prince William is keeping the Buckingham Palace bullying investigation into Meghan Markle into his back pocket to try and stop the duplicitous Duchess from making a royal comeback. Now, I think this is very smart of the Prince of Wales, because trust me, the type of information that is contained in that report would be absolutely terminal in terms of Meghan trying to make any sort of comeback, I think, not just royally, but also commercially. And of course, as part of the peace deal between the British royal family and Meghan Markle, it was agreed that that report would be kept behind lock and key at Buckingham Palace forever. But maybe all bets are off as Harry and Meghan's own attempts to re-ingratiate themselves with the institution that, remember, they described as racist become more deranged by the minute. Here's a discussion about that bullying report on Royal Exclusive.
Really interested because we'd heard rumours just after Meghan had joined that all wasn't well behind palace doors, and maybe she wasn't the most liked amongst palace staff. We later learned via the Times story, because these were actually emails sent by Jason Knorf to the private secretary raising concerns. This wasn't just gossip behind the scenes. This was, I'm worried about the treatment of staff, and he's raised it to his superior. But we understand that William and Catherine were aware of this, and this alleged treatment from Meghan to her staff did cause the split, or help cause the split between William and Catherine and Meghan and Harry.
Well, I think Samara's right. This is a different style, clearly. She doesn't know how to behave. Catherine adapted to the institution and knows what the unwritten rules are. I do think that Fergie had the same problem. She came into the royal family and she began to be pretty high-minded about things, or high-handed, about things, and that has rapid turnover of staff. And I think one of the reasons the bullying report hasn't been published, partly to keep a sort of something to hold against the Sussexes, but also because if they publish that report, they would then have to sort of say, well, why haven't you investigated other members of the royal family who also were bullying to staff?
Rob Shooter from the Naughty But Nice Substack joins me now. Rob, yes, of course there is an argument about that, but the difference is that William and Catherine don't have any skeletons in their closet. So I do think that this report remains a ticking time bomb for Meghan Markle.
Oh, absolutely. This is such a smart move. In my former career, I was a publicist for Princess Michael of Kent. If I was a publicist still for the British royal family, I would say this is just a genius move. Not only is it the right thing to do, it is such a smart thing to do. It separates William from his father, who dragged his feet over the investigation of his brother. William is going to prove he's not going to be that guy. Investigating your brother, investigating your brother's wife. I think it's such a really impactful moment. He can show the world here that he will not tolerate nonsense, bullying, bad behavior within his family, even if it means looking at his brother and his wife. I think that this is a win-win, not just for William and Catherine, but for the nation. That there are allegations of really awful behavior. And as we know from Andrew, ignoring awful behavior does not make it disappear. It sits there. It festers. It's like a wound. It gets worse and worse. I think that this would be a really great start for William as the king. And I think it would be a final death nail in the problem that he has, which is going to be Harry and Meghan.
Absolutely. And the thing is, he may have to, Rob, I know he hasn't wanted to. I mean, basically what he has wanted is them to go and accept their exile and just do their thing in Hollywood and leave him the hell alone. Because they chose to leave the British royal family the hell alone. But I do think William is increasingly realizing that they're not going to do that. It hasn't worked out. And so some dirty tricks on behalf of the British royal family might have to be deployed. Because the thing is, Rob, this sort of nicey, let's try and do a peace deal from King Charles has failed. We can say that now. It has failed. All it has done is embolden Harry and Meghan to act even more appallingly.
Yeah, you're right. I'd argue there's so many parallels here with Andrew. They wanted Andrew to just go away. They just didn't want to deal with him. Send him up to Norfolk and shut up. And he won't. These people don't. Anybody that has ever worked with a bully, anybody that has ever known a bully, knows the only thing that makes a difference is when you confront them. They will never, ever change their behavior. And so what Harry and Meghan have given here is William a gift, an awful gift. And my heart breaks for the people, the young staff, the staff that have been in that office in the palace for a really long time. She treated people really appallingly. It always adds up. We've spoke about American celebrities, my specialty, as well as the royals. Ellen DeGeneres, everybody knew she was a bully. Most people knew Diddy. I worked with Diddy, was a bad guy. You can run from it. You can run from it for a year, maybe 2 or 3 years, but it's always gonna catch up with you. So this report, it's going to come out. It might not come out soon, but I think that if William grabs this and decides to make this the hill that he's going to die on, it decides to make this his moment to prove to the world that he is a different type of king than his dad. And if he has to investigate his brother, and we know that they're in a bad place, but there's still feelings there. They still are brothers. To do this, I think it'd be so courageous and so smart. And I think the public would really reward him for it. And at the same time, too, it's the right thing to do. You can't pretend she didn't do this. We all know she did. Let's see the proof.
Yeah, it absolutely is becoming clearer to the British royal family that transparency in light of what's happened with Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is going to become necessary. So William could argue this is part of transparency, that there is a new broom in the British royal family, and we're not going to hide things. We're not going to cover up bad behavior anymore. So that would almost give him a way in which to potentially do this. Radar Online's done some reporting on this, Rob. I just want to show you this before you come back in and watch.
Dan is joined by royal commentator Rob Shooter to discuss renewed attention surrounding the past workplace allegations involving Meghan Markle and how the issue continues to surface in conversations about the royal family. According to ongoing royal commentary, questions remain about the internal review that was reportedly conducted during Meghan's time as a working royal, with Prince William taking on a more prominent leadership role within the monarchy. Some observers believe the situation could resurface as part of broader discussions about standards and accountability within the institution. Dan and Rob break down what has been said about the report, why it continues to spark debate, and what it might mean for the future relationship between the Sussexes and the wider royal family. Like the video for more royal updates. Subscribe for the latest royal family news and analysis. Comment below. Do you think this issue will return to the spotlight?
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle destroyed palace working morale and left staff members deeply unhappy to the point of walking away. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were accused of creating a hostile work environment when she married into the royal family, destroying the bonds that Prince William and Kate Middleton worked so hard to foster, RadarOnline.com can reveal. The demanding duo's harsh treatment led to the resignations of several Kensington Palace staffers, setting the stage for William to divide the royal households to shield his employees from Harry and Markle's reign of terror. A palace insider told Russell Myers for his biography, William and Catherine, the intimate inside story that William and Catherine had built a happy team. which was being actively destroyed daily by Meghan and Harry. Another source called Harry's 2023 spare claim that William pushed him into a dog food bowl and broke a necklace, overblown. The insider said tensions were high and crosswords were exchanged, but William insists there was no physical violence, calling Harry's account a cheap shot. Myers writes the fracas's context is undisputed. Sources said William's description of Markle as difficult and rude was fair, defending staff whose mental health suffered. Whatever was said, Myers notes tensions had already set the stage for a split between the brothers' royal households. A palace source said William and Catherine fostered a supportive work environment, celebrating staff and allowing time off. They were horrified when former staff moved to Harry and Markle's team were treated badly and acted to address it immediately. Myers writes tensions rose after Harry married Markle, with William and Kate seeing the Sussexes as difficult and toxic. Kate, focused on her 3 children, accepted the inevitability of their 2020 departure from royal duties to California.
But Rob Shooter, what's interesting about this is there is just so much more like that to come. There are so many members of the Sussex Survivors Club who were part of the British royal family team who are just ready and waiting. And obviously they can't speak on the record because they're constrained by the Official Secrets Act, but they can continue to brief to reporters at organizations like Radar Online. And of course, it's not just organizations like Radar Online. We've also seen Vanity Fair and Hollywood Reporter talk about the fact that with the staff members who have worked for Harry and Meghan in America, it's been absolutely terrible, with nuclear behavior again driving some staff members into rehab. So there is worse to come.
Oh, it will always come out. It always comes out. I say, if you don't want us to talk about it, don't do it, because it will come out. I think it's time too, though, that Catherine and William took off the gloves. Harry has not given them the same grace. Harry has told all their secrets. Harry has run to the press. Harry has not been subtle. Harry has not been kind about them. And they've bent over backwards. And I think it's a testament to the fact they're decent and they're good people. But I think now, when staff are complaining, instead of being upset, instead of trying to move them into a new job, you have to confront the problem. And the problem here is Harry and Meghan. And I think what's happened with Andrew has really vindicated William. William wanted to deal with this, and he was convinced by his father, by people within the palace, not to deal with his disgraced uncle. He's not going to make that same mistake again. William wants to deal with Harry, and his father and people in the palace have said, don't worry, let's ignore them. They're going to go away. It never does. Andrew, the only silver lining of this really ugly Andrew story is that it has empowered William to trust his own instincts, to trust his own voice. And now I think William is going to act in a way that his dad never could. And Harry should be concerned. You know, I get it. Harry's got away with this for so long. Meghan's got away with it for so long. The day that William snaps, and it's going to happen, I think they'll be really, really shocked. And as bully as they won't see it coming, but it has to happen now. This is going to be the best way to show everybody, to show the world that there's a new sheriff in town, there's a new king.
Gosh, yeah, it would be. It absolutely would be. Go, William. Go on, William. Look, Rob, I wanted to ask your opinion on this work that Princess Carmichael has been doing, comparing and contrasting the engagement interviews of Catherine, the Princess of Wales, with that of Meghan Markle. And they wrote, when asked if they had met the families and the Queen, Markle gives an almost smug answer that implies that meeting the Queen was just another dignitary. Princess Catherine shows vulnerability and relatability, admitting she was nervous to meet Charles and the Queen. I feel like most of us were expecting Markle to admit it was nerve-wracking and not your everyday grandparent introduction, but her ego won't allow it. She conducted herself in this interview as if they were there for her. No, they were there for Harry, and it would have been the exact same thing had he married Chelsea Davy or the salesgirl from TK Maxx. It's very interesting, Rob, looking at these two interviews back to back. So just watch